So last time you guys made your way over to the Periculum where you met up with the good old friend Weth, and you got in there into the middle of the mock battle of the training. You managed to sit down with her in her new quarters, and through her help, you met 3 potential recruits to make up the new strike team that you will be training and forming. Those recruits being the Goblin Hubie, or Rojo, but prefers to go by Hubie, the kind of grilled gray goblin. You have Bug, the 3 Keen, with his kind of nail-like lance. For everybody at home who's played Hollow Knight, he's very similar to that. He's Rhino Beetle-esque. And then we discovered some amazing artwork that has changed Sylvester a little bit. He is now a chameleon lizard folk, and he is also small. So all 3 of these characters are small, stealthy, and capable.
Love it.
And so they went off to recover after imbibing a whole lot of whiskey, essentially, and arm wrestling, which Scylla came out on top of. And you all kind of went your separate ways, in which, most importantly, Dr. Seuss went to the library and managed to do a good chunk of research, which isn't entirely concluded. But the main thing you uncovered was this semi-mythical place known as Graven Hollow, a stone giant library in the Underdark that is said to have chronicled the entire history of the Underdark, with small potential links as to seeing a little bit into the future. You think perhaps your greatest answers could be found there. However, in your studies, you rolled a 27. You wanted to know a little bit more about demons, who they are, what their purpose is, kind of a deal. This Graven Hollow discovery kind of comes towards the end of this. So here's something I want to ask you guys. You kind of had the rest of the day. This could be the culmination for Sussaro of like the end of one day. The 2 things I told you, other than Graven Hollow, like that's what you get. Or, and Brendan, we didn't get to you talking to Sekarak about trying to harness Ferez. And then Sam and Scylla staying with Weth, getting drunk, maybe looking more into the training aspect. You guys were told that the last time the undead were seen were about 4 days ago. It's not clear whether or not they are making their way towards the Kingdom of Ember, because Sir Laertes took his best efforts to make sure that they couldn't be followed, and the entrance is disguised and well hidden. But he told you if you guys weren't going to go out with these new folks sometime soon to check it out, he was going to send a small force to kind of like keep tabs as best as possible. Do you want to stay and do more research for a couple more days, potentially getting a little bit more, spending more time training, and let Laertes send his force out? Or do you guys want to head out into the field yourselves after a day?
I'm inclined to head out, but...
You want to head out?
I think head out.
I'm
inclined as well.
Yeah, it feels like we've been kind of spending some time on the research side of the house, and for Scylla, this is like the next important step.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you guys have been here 2 days, almost 3 now. So like you haven't been hitting the books too long, but you've definitely put things in motion. So, Sussaro, I think that's what you get for the rest of the day. Like those are your hours, but holy shit, what a key piece of information. Something that could potentially have all the answers. Now you just have to figure out how to potentially get to this place if it exists, so that might be your next step of like compiling all resources on Graven Hollow and where to find this, especially with your mapping of the Underdark. It could kind of go hand in hand there. Brendan, because I don't want to skip out on the conversation you want to have with Sekarak there. You make your way back to the tower, and Sekarak is in there. He is actually being tended to by a number of myconids, and he is back in dragon form. And you see that Vlad is there. And he's kind of watching it, but you can kind of get the idea that he's kind of like saddened by this, because besides yourself and the party, Sekarak was like the person to kind of first educate him and teach him about things. And so to see this like once horrible wound still look kind of bad, but is healing, it's kind of like, he didn't love that. But you enter into the tower and you see Sekarak kind of laid out on these giant cushion, almost throne. And his long draconic head turns towards you and he goes, my dear friend, how was your time in the Periculum?
Well, a little sweatier and buskier than I'm used to, or that I prefer, but good progress being made across the city, to be sure. We actually have a small excursion we're making with some of the trainees tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
Straight back out into the field. Can't keep yourselves in one place for too long, it seems.
Well, the Underdark does not rest, so neither shall we.
No. Not that I can say. From what I remember of your journeys in the astral realm were much easier, quieter even.
I came to speak with you about a potential magical experiment. You have, of course, been in the Underdark longer than most creatures, and are keenly aware of its magical effects. I speak mostly of the Ferez. I was wondering, more intrigued, I suppose, if the Ferez could be harnessed to sort of, what am I asking? The Ferez is everywhere. It touches most places of the Underdark I've seen. Wouldn't it be powerful if we could use it as a form of mapping? If we could key into particular parts of that magic, use it for our means, sort of geolocate through the Ferez. I'm just intrigued by the implications.
Well, it is certainly something that similar minds, such as your own, have questioned and looked into for hundreds of years. I've slightly dabbled in it, but the thing I've come to understand the most about it, Sephel, is that it is almost in its own way a type of wild magic. It is chaotic and hardly ruled by anything other than its seemingly own whims, so to say. The only common denominators that I have been able to find when it comes to the Ferez is that areas, such as this large cavern, are protected by it. Something about the more wild and unintelligent of the Underdark have a hard time sensing that within it. So it has formed for those of us of more intelligent types a suitable living arrangement. The purple worms, so to speak. Probably the greatest dangers besides, well, myself, especially back in my heyday. They don't come where the Ferez is. They avoid it. Thankfully. The other bit about it is it naturally suffuses area with light. And, well, surprisingly, and I suppose you don't remember this too much, magics of a divine nature tend to suffer the most well, under or within the Ferez's territory. And even ourselves, to teleport in and out without the means of an anchor point, such as a circle, can run into all sorts of problems. It can interfere with such means. The other thing about it is that it tends to take on that magical aura or nature that it deems sufficiently strong enough to run with its own proclivities. From some of my observations, areas suffused with the Ferez that have come into contact with the demons have slowly become tainted, in a sense, almost slightly bending to their wills, and if not bending, they seem to... If you were... The best view that I could give it is if you're walking through clear water, but your feet were sunk into the mud. As you walk, the water is doing its own thing. It might bend a little bit about you, but for the most part, it leaves you be. But the silt that you draw up gets brought into the currents of the water and follows you, and then extends out and grows. This is what the Ferez seems to be doing with the demons. Perhaps, if there was a means of condensing the Ferez, if possible, and even allowing your own magics to run with it. And it means you might be able to do all sorts of things. This is the closest that I could begin to comprehend or even hypothesize something akin to what you're thinking.
Interesting. So if we were able to identify what parts of the Ferez had been tainted, so to speak, we could identify the places that had a demonic presence, or even begin to track, in a way, if I'm understanding you.
Well, it's possible. That might require some arcane craft. A new spell, perhaps, that would tap towards that effect. But what I meant more was you wanting to use the Ferez. It's possible, but say if you wanted to take all of the Ferez that was here infused in the cavern, yes? The entire city. You would have to somehow introduce your magics in such a way that the currents of the Ferez would pick it up and move with it. It would, in a sense, dilute it and then change it, become more malleable, and with more and more introduced, it might perhaps change more of what you want. But I do know that there are certain smaller things, especially the crystals out in the city. They are particularly great harnessers or conductors of the Ferez. Perhaps if you were to use those, you might create a conduit of such, or as a means of directing what you want of the Ferez. Smaller quantities that you can corrupt, for lack of a better word, easier for your purposes. That would be at least my first attempt into controlling the Ferez, if I were to do so. I've usually left it alone, though.
It's a good place to start. Perhaps it can be reverse engineered as well, and that would be a means of... If I can understand the relationship the crystals have with the Ferez, I can both use it as a conduit of the Ferez, but also a means to perhaps catalyze my magic into the Ferez.
You can certainly conduct any experiment you'd like. I'm happy to assist you. If it seems like we're going to tackle something of a larger scale, perhaps we can use a lesser cavern outside of the cities, just not to disturb what is here in place.
Let's start investing in this. We'll start some experiments. We'll start small. I think you are right. Find a cavern outside. I can't start today, of course. But perhaps when we return from this small excursion, we can begin this.
Very well. And so you guys, I imagine you kind of continue to talk magical theory. Perhaps you work on your spells some more. You work with Vlad. You see the myconids coming in and out of the labs. They're harvesting a lot of the growths that Sekarak's natural presence continues to help grow in the area. And unless there's anything else you guys want to do, I imagine the day starts to come to a close.
There's just one very quick, hopefully quick, I want to do. Is
Sure.
there a single book in the library that is written in the giant language?
Ooh. There is.
I am going to snag that.
Okay. I literally rolled a natural 20. I was like 15 and above, there's something. Anything below that, no go. But yeah, you get it. And I think just to make this more interesting, because it's a natural 20 here, and I want to respect the dice, I think very similar to when Sephel was in the library maybe a year and a half ago almost now, when we were in these episodes. You found, Sephel, a secret sect in the library. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
I think Sussaro ends up finding this. I think you're going back and you're putting away books and you're like, I wonder if there's anything in Giantish here. And you're like going through, and I think you accidentally just like a book falls out of place, but instead of falling forward towards you, it falls backwards, and you like peep in and you manage to see there's like this hidden section. And so with Bronte, you manage to worm your way in, and it's dusty, and some are like chained in place and some are locked up. But the one that catches your eye is it actually looks like a stone book. However, when you open it, like this slate cover, it's very clearly a small chest, and inside is a number of very fragile looking scrolls. And as you're very gently handling them, you can see giant runes and writing in there. And you think that this is something very, very valuable. Do you speak Giant?
At the end of a short or long rest, I will have that ability.
Okay. There's definitely you can speak it, but there's like I think there's a difference between just giant language and understanding the magical capacities of their runes. So this is both like a mixture of a wealth of knowledge, but also what the hell else is involved with this? Like, why are there runes, which they don't always inscribe on something so frail here? So a very incredibly good find. Interesting. All right. Oh, go ahead, Sam. Sorry.
If Scylla had a moment, no, all good. I think I would stop by Hilda, Gilda, and Trilda to get a shield pickup.
All right.
A year in the making, baby.
That's right.
A year in the making. You make your way over to the Dwellin Smithies, and it's also been a while. It's been almost a couple months since you'd seen this place. Mm-hmm. And where before there was, I think I had described it as there was a number of emaciated people because they were under the effects of like the hag
Yeah.
and were being starved because Dwellin was like corrupted in his mind by her and all sorts of stuff. People are looking way healthier now. And there are a good number of gray dwarves and even some like what you would think to be like mountain dwarves in there. There's a good smattering and more kobolds. There's even some goblins in there that are all learning the trade and expanding. And you can hear Trilda, Gilda, and Hilda are like towards the back and they're educating people. And they see you and they're all like, "You made it back. It's good to see you."
It is good to see the three of you as well. I did not know how long it would take us to return. You seem in higher spirits than when we left.
Yes, no, we are certainly better. Now things aren't quite so dire around here. And now that our father has semi-retired,
I see.
yeah. So we're kind of running the show, but that is not why you're here. We do have it ready for you.
Oh, that is exciting. Scylla's like picking up speed, getting closer.
Just quick question.
Yes.
I know we said we just like get this to you. Is there any chance it cost a lot more than we thought it was gonna be? And it's a mighty fine piece of work. Is there like anything in the terms of like maybe like a tip or a donation you could throw towards us for it?
I see. Is this one of those business practices in which the goods are so much better than expected, and when you go to receive the goods, the price increases due to the increased perceived value?
Well, it's in part, but it's certainly not a perceived. This is quite powerful. Here, we'll show you.
Yes, I will need to see it before any decisions are made.
Goddamn inflation.
And so,
yeah, I feel bad except for you're a billionaire.
They don't know that.
Well, you paid off that debt real easy. I don't know.
Only tens of millions.
So Hilda actually goes back to a chest behind in their kind of private large forge area, and she pulls from this chest this beautiful gold gem encrusted and scribed shield. And for everybody at home and for you guys here at the table, it is a spell guard shield. This is a very rare item. While holding the shield, you have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects, and spell attacks have disadvantage against you. You can see that, like, with the gems and everything else, you can see around the edges is that kind of, what is it called? Is it like that mother of pearl kind of look, like that shell from the snails that you had taken down, the flail snails? You can see that is what is in there, and it gives off this kind of glowing pattern. And they're like, "We'll just show you." And one of them actually like casts a firebolt at it, and all of a sudden like the firebolt comes there and then just veers off and flies off into the forge. And she goes, "And it's pretty consistent." And she just keeps like, Trilda keeps firing at Hilda at it, and you can see it, like a couple of them even just dissipate and fizz out as it touches. Most of them fly off out of nowhere. And she goes, "It's extremely resilient to magic." And well, we were only able to craft the one. If we had been able to craft more, we wouldn't ask for perhaps a donation towards it, but
yes, I see. Scylla's like, I imagine she's like standing next to it, and if it was a cartoon, her eyes would be like fully like stars, just like looking down at it. It is an incredible piece of work. This is truly magnificent. Yes, a tip, I believe, is in order.
Oh, good. So we won't. The shells you brought us. That has most of the properties in it.
Mm.
Could we make a recommendation on that donation though, for all the gems and the gold and the hat and all
I did
that?
not realize it was customary to be told what to tip.
We also provided one of the main gems for it too, right?
What gem? What gem was that?
It was the,
disembodied
red
voice.
crystal.
That
No, I'm telling Sam so she's not extorted. It was one of the red crystals that we had found.
Yeah, but if you look here, there's more than just one red.
I'm not
crystal
talking to you,
and
lady.
gem.
I'm a disembodied voice.
Gilda's looking at you and she's like, I know what's in your mind.
I've read your soul, tentacle man.
It would be unfair of me to not listen to your suggestion. However, I will say when we first left this city, we had very little, and now we have paid off our debt. And so circumstances have changed.
Oh, good. That's great. I'm glad to hear that.
I am glad you are glad.
No, it's good. It's good to hear that you're doing so well. So you could help some sisters out.
Possibly.
Buy their business, Sam. Power move. Buy the mines.
So listen, here's the thing. If we were to retail this.
Yeah, right. Let me stop you right there. I would assume if you were to retail this, no one would have the money to be able to buy it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, what's the Kelly Blue Book on this?
It was the Kelly Blue Book.
27,500 gold.
Show me the shield facts.
Yeah, show me the shield facts. Don't buy a lemon. Don't buy a cursed magic item.
It could be more.
Right.
We are just asking for a measly 10,000 gold pieces just to cover the rest of our costs.
That's a good discount.
Listen, that's a $17,500 discount, hun.
That 10,000 gold is a lot.
It is. Yeah, we understand. And while you did pay that debt and you did bring us materials, that debt was just to the city at large. That doesn't even touch our pockets. And you said you're doing well for yourself. I mean, it blocks magic.
Yes. It is a very impressive piece. I have no doubt in your honesty onto its worth.
Yeah.
However, I cannot give you the money at this time without speaking with my financial advisor.
Oh, beans. Well,
Yes.
I guess it'll just have to go back in the chest for now. And she just like slowly carries it away and she just starts to put it in the chest. Oh, it's such a beauty. I hate to see it go to
Well,
waste
I
in
could.
here. Oh, what? Yeah. She starts to pull it out a little bit. What was that? I'm sorry.
Extortion. This is just plain extortion.
You're like, so imagine how easy it would be to kill Sephel if you had this thing.
Oh my god.
Just imagine how much you overpower the game from here on. It's just 10. Oh, wow. Look. Oh, it had a nick. Hilda, could you fix that? Yeah, you did? Okay. Maybe
Will
now
that lower
it's 12. It's 12,000 now because she just put a new gem on it to cover that scratch.
I do not need the gem. In fact, I would argue that the value is less because it has an imperfection.
Oh no, but the imperfection is gone, huh? You just turned it into a new
remember-
socket for a new jam.
Just remember, Sam, most NPCs are killable.
Oh no! Oh,
It's-
whatever will we do? Thank God we have this giant shield that helps repel magic.
It doesn't repel Scylla.
And
It
we're
does not
surrounded
repel.
by kobolds and dwarves and our
Hmm.
friends that would hate to see something happen to us.
Is this
Imagine the debt you would incur for killing the kingdom's greatest smiths
Plenty of tunnels to hide a body.
with all the witnesses.
I would like to continue this transaction in private.
Okay,
Lead the way.
sure. And they all step outside a side door outside of this open air pavilion. And she's like, is this private enough for you? You can see there's miners going in.
No.
Oh, well, what kind of private do you need, hun?
I would like a place in which I can discuss my finances privately.
But I thought you needed to talk to your financial advisor.
Do you want me to buy this now?
Well, I mean, we
or
wouldn't
not.
mind holding on to it if you're going to give up your claim to that material. So that's
Will you
fine by
guarantee
us.
the price of 10,000?
But that new gem was just put on it, making it 12. Well, I guess if you buy now, before leaving, we'll keep it at the 10.
Scylla knows she's being extorted.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And you see some guy out in the corner. He's like, hey, is that fancy shield? Can I buy it? I'll give you 15. And they're like, ooh, did you? All right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have the gold on you right now? You got that
I do.
gold? Can we see it?
She looks at them, and then she reaches into the bag of holding and pulls out a quick glimpse of platinum.
All right, listen, let's go back into our office. And they go back over to the trunk where the shield was in, and they just open it up and they're like, why don't you just go ahead and pour that platinum right in there, and then you can walk away with this fancy shield.
This feels so wrong.
It feels dirty.
It does.
Also, I really love it. I just need a quiet place. Like a place where no one can hear you scream in it.
They didn't give it to me. Scylla will put the bag of holding in the chest, and then she will lean in and whisper, 10,000 gold. And then it just comes out.
It just starts
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
Fills up the chest. They you pull back with the bag. She quickly Hilda quickly shuts it, and she goes, thank you so much. Here is your shield. I hope it serves you well.
It will definitely serve me well. I would like to let you know that I will not be recommending your business due to the unfair negotiations which have occurred.
Oh, we're so saddened to hear that you feel that way. And we'll just let the rest of the smithies in the city know that if you need anything else crafted, that you will not be coming to anybody in the city for anything. Thank
That
you
is
for
not
your
what I said. I said I
patronage.
would not come here.
Oh, yeah, well, we kind of are the smithies.
I see.
And then,
Yes.
Gilda, she's just like, isn't that right, gentlemen and ladies? And claps her hand, and, all the smithies stop what they're doing and then exit the pavilion.
Oh
Just
my god.
march out, and she's like, is there anything else?
Jesus.
No, this will be fine. Thank you very much for the transaction. I wish you a neutral life.
Same to you.
Like a
Thank
threat.
you. Thank
The
you
day you
so
deserve.
much. We'll see you maybe again.
Or not.
Or not. Who knows?
And Scylla will give a
Hey,
little curt
hey,
nod.
hey, Scylla. Hey, Scylla. I hope that shield can guard you just as well as our good friend Artemis guarded you up until his last breath. Thank you for bringing back the news of our friend's death and not our friend. Have a good day. A blessed day.
Yeah, maybe the Kingdom of Ever isn't like
Brutal.
chill exactly.
Yeah.
I kind of preferred their dad.
Yeah. I think she says that, and Scylla kind of looks at her. I imagine she... Oof.
She's like,
Yeah.
You say something, hon?
Hey.
I think this is a question of like...
We're rich.
What is happening right now?
We're rich. We can have the king shut them down.
Oh my God.
We can import better smiths.
Yeah.
Can you?
Perhaps...
Who do you know?
Artemis, his death was a great tragedy. But do not claim that he could have defended me better than I defend myself. If that were true, he would be alive. Good day.
Scorched earth tactics.
Okay. So Scylla has blacklisted the Dwellin Smithies.
Yeah, but I got what I wanted to.
Yep. You got it.
So
Do you
happy
strap
for
that
you.
shield onto your back, or do you just carry this incredibly rare and powerful item around on you? Or do you put it in like the bag of holding and stuff?
I think it has a spot. Yeah, she's got Caliburn on her back. And she's got the new shield at her side.
Okay. Marching back through town. All right.
Oh.
Is that it for the day for everybody? Or is there anything else that folks want to do here?
Time for tea and a nice nap, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. You guys then head back to your respective housings. I'm assuming Sephel's back at the tower. Scylla heads back to the keep. Sussaro, do you keep to the inn tonight?
Yeah, I'll keep to the inn in my normal routine there.
Okay. So you all kind of retreat back to your spots, your domiciles of a place, and you all get a long rest. So mark those off for any kind of abilities you might have used during that time. And so the next day, you all wake. What is kind of the orders here? The operations.
I feel
order
that
of
I spent a lot of
operations.
money.
Oh.
I mean, that's fine. You earned the ability to do that. You know, this is... I'm more upset at the behavior of the Smiths, but I think you did fine.
It was quite alarming, and they were very upset about Starcaller's death. And I certainly did not leave on good terms.
I mean, that's... As long as they don't turn their backs on the entirety of Blingdenstone, I think it will be fine that we don't personally interact.
Do you think they would send assassins?
I don't think so.
There
What
was a
did
look
you
in her
say
eyes.
to them?
Well, there was a look in their eyes which promised revenge, but also in a sort of dishonest way where they were saying nice things, but the tone and I believe the intent were quite murderous.
You're talking about business.
Yes. It was business.
That's terrible.
It was awful.
I'm glad you made it out.
I think I did, at the end, get a bit too angry. I said Starcaller would be alive if he was better.
Did you?
I did. It's not exactly what I...
No, I mean, we say things in anger. It might fall in the realm of too soon, but I suppose there is validity in the statement.
Yes. So I would watch your back.
Perhaps we chalk this up as a learning opportunity on...
Yes. And I have learned business is bad.
Yes. Shall we gather the trainees?
Yes.
All right, so you guys head back. You gather up the trainees, Hubie, Sylvester, and Bug. They are kind of kitted out a little bit more, ready to head out into the depths of the tunnels. And I think Sylvester, being the ranger amongst you all, is kind of given the most detail from the scale guard as to like where to go, where they were last spotted, all that kind of information, and will kind of lead you guys. Nobon has accepted to join all of you as well. I don't think I put his token on here.
Oh yeah, Nobon.
Nobon, the cleric.
No bond, no problem.
Nobon,
Does
no
Bronte
problem.
come as well?
No bond, no cry.
Bronte always accompanies Dr. Seuss.
There's something there. There's something there.
Think all you want.
Bronte wants him a short cane.
I think Vlad decides to stay back with Sekrak for the time being. Excuse me.
Shut up.
I'm sorry. So sorry, sir.
Do better.
Never. I can't physically. And do you guys do anything the morning of before you head off into the tunnels to kind of take care of business?
I attune to the shield I assume requires
Smart.
attunement.
Did you put it in your inventory? And does it say check attunement?
I mean,
down there
honestly,
on your
if
attunement
it doesn't
spots?
require attunement, it is broken.
I'm sure it does. I mean,
Is it a wondrous item?
No, it's shield.
I did assume this is homebrew. What is it?
no, it's not homebrew. This is a legit thing.
Shield
Not everything's
Whoa.
homebrew.
Shield of
Will,
light.
are you saying homebrew's not legit? Bro.
No, it's legit. Spell Guard Shield.
Oh,
it is a
shit.
very
Yeah, I got it.
rare item.
I got it.
It does require attunement. You gotta be moving some stuff around because you can't have. I'm pretty sure the title chains were attunement.
Yeah, so basically what this means is I will have to unattune to the timepiece, and the next time we want to use it, I will have to attune to it again.
But you've been having Sephel use it. So Sephel would have had to be attuned to it.
Yeah, in which case I just had 2 attunements.
Interesting. Okay. We gotta be on top of that attunement.
Yeah, we gotta.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anytime we
one of
use
my
it,
slots
we
is a
haven't
pearl
been, like-
flower.
Yeah, we haven't been like in a moment of like we've always had time before we use it.
No, that's true. So that's fine. Just good bookkeeping.
For sure.
But you guys end up heading out into the Underdark again. Sir Laertes kind of fills you guys in, gives you the best. He's like, something about this force was fucky, for lack of a better word. He was like, I was definitely nervous about that large knight that kind of came in. It was why we retreated. That's where we lost the majority of those who died. He's like, he's like, it's best if we just kind of figure out what's happening, what they're doing before getting anything into anything crazy. So you guys head out, and let's have Sylvester do a survival.
Ooh.
And that is a natural 20 for a 29. Sylvester's doing a great job. And his large chameleon-esque eyes just darting around everywhere, keeping really good track on everything. And eventually, you guys come across, after 2 days on the road, you've been making swift travel, though, with Sylvester's help. It still takes you about 2 days, so it's about half the time to reach where you believe the undead were from the reports given. And even Noban can confirm a little bit too, because he was there to a certain degree. He was like, yes, this is he's like, yes, this is about the area that we had come into contact with them. I believe there is a cavern up ahead to the right that led us. This path kind of moves down to the southwest here, and you see there's kind of like this branching off in these two areas, and that's where Noban is kind of pointing out. He's like, yes, no, there's a large cavern up to the right. And Sylvester kind of like, I think he's trying to kind of prove his worth to you all. He's going to go ahead and make a perception check. Everybody else is welcome to do this too.
Mm-hmm.
Die. 14 for a dirty 20 for Sylvester. 15.
Amir 13.
13. Okay.
18.
Who's the old guy?
18. That is Bronte on there. And Bronte, not bad. Doesn't beat out Sylvester though. So as you guys are kind of heading down, and go ahead and move your tokens here. I guess I'm curious, Scylla, since you're the one that's kind of dedicated yourself to claiming that you're going to be the one training them, how are you having these guys move with you? Are you having them be out front, kind of like Sylvester is? You want them in the back? You want them just doing their own thing? What do you think has been happening the last 2 days as you've been traveling with them?
So, in my mind, like, what I want to do is to train them to all have the mobile feet.
Okay. So that's kind
like,
of your influence on them. Sure.
Yes. I'd like them to all be fast-footed, but perhaps some stealth training in there as well.
Okay.
To be like a get in, hit hard, back away to safety, and then do it again and again and again. And I think in this moment, they're in the front and they're being stealthy after some training that they've had, and this is like their first like little
this is the
exam.
First potential they could get into something. Okay. Yeah, that will definitely take a long time to like ingrain this feat. I think there's probably times where like you, Scylla, were moving ahead with them, and even Bronte surprisingly was like, I do believe I can assist in this matter for movement. And he is like perfectly capable of keeping up with you and even moving a little bit faster too.
Hell yeah.
While I imagine you guys are like running ahead, Noban, Sussaro, and Sephel are kind of like lingering towards the back, maybe not taking off on these sprints with you guys, but you guys are kind of forming the scouting party. But eventually you get up to this turn, and you see that there are some caverns that move to the right. And what's interesting is you see that there's old signs of blood and some scattered bits of bone on these paths as you are moving ahead. And as you come into this area, you see that this is where the battle definitely occurred. And the three recruits are like very clearly pointing it out, like, oh yeah, this is definitely where it is. And then Sylvester stops all of you and goes, I got to change his voice a little bit now to match the tiny chameleon.
go.
I got to think of what that is. He's like, up there toward the ceiling in the back. That is where I hear something sticky. Slurps. Growling. Not large, but something's there.
Scylla will look back to the group. Are we ready to perhaps fan out, surround the creature?
Zeus nods.
And Scylla will have everyone kind of head on into the room, but keep to the walls and kind of make a perimeter.
Okay, go ahead and everybody move their tokens, please. Sephel saying to the way back there.
Oh yeah.
He's like, hell
He's like,
no.
I know what I'm doing.
Hell no. All right. As you guys step in, this space is very, very large. You see it branches off to the east again, and then it continues to branch to the west. What catches everybody's eyes is that there are like these odd dancing lights out in the depths of this cavern. And they just kind of like wink in and out, just whoom, 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 whoom. And you see them kind of bopping and weaving and kind of just gently moving. They're tiny. Semi in y'all's direction. Do you guys do anything as this happens?
Scylla will command everyone to freeze and wait and see if they're coming at us.
You see them kind of continue to move about, but not necessarily come closer towards you.
Can Sephel try to do any sort of like nature or arcana check to identify what they are?
Not unless you get a little bit closer.
Okay.
Yeah, Scylla will get closer with the smart people.
Okay. Trying to move everybody up. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How close do I need to be to like get eyes on them?
I'm just double checking their thing. They actually produce an aura. So I just want to make sure everybody can see that. Here we go. So they actually begin kind of shedding this larger cone of light that kind of comes and goes. It kind of grows a little bit larger, is a little bit less, but they continue to move. And Sephel, I would say about 10 feet more forward to get like better discernment. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Arcana.
Or I would say, because of the nature of what they are, religion would also work. And anybody can roll this. Anybody that's up and in viewing distance of this.
It's the same for me either way. It's a 22.
22? Okay.
15.
15?
That is a 17 on religion.
Okay. Sephel, it immediately hits you as to what these are. And then everybody else, after like a couple of seconds, are like, wait a minute. You realize that they're will-o-wisps. Ethereal, undead, tiny creatures that can do a devastating amount of danger if they decide to come at you. And then you all hear that. And then all of a sudden, this medium creature drops from the ceiling and appears between the two will-o-wisps and just immediately begins charging towards you all. These long, thorny maw tentacles latched out, its semi-humanoid body just... And we'll see you guys next time.
Hey everyone, welcome to the end of the episode. 2 quick announcements for you. You've already heard us say it 100 times. We have a Discord. What are you waiting for? Get in here. We have so many amazing like-minded DMs in there. A lot of players as well, people new to D&D. Some people have been in there a long time, and everyone's just having a nice time sharing tips, tricks, talking about one-shots, talking about Curse of Strahd, talking about Out of the Abyss, all the things. So definitely think about joining us. You can find the link to join our Discord at linktree.com/themadnesstable. You can also find our other social media links there, including our TikTok. And boy howdy, Andrew Walker has been killing it on TikTok, posting the most random mad memes you had ever seen. So definitely consider following us there as well. Lastly, if you've made it this far, consider leaving us a 5-star review in whatever podcatcher you're currently listening. 5-star reviews are instrumental in pushing us up the charts and getting us in new listeners, which is really what we're looking for to get the name out there. So consider doing that for us. We would be forever in your debt. But that's all for now. And we will see you in the next episode when... Madness